Earth is home to billions of people who all depend on water to live. The good news is that the planet is composed of 71% water. The bad news is, though, 96% of that water is salt water, and therefore undrinkable. Many parts of the world are struggling with being able to provide enough water to its people. Places like the Middle East, deserts in Africa, parts of Asia, and even California are having a difficult time with having a sufficient amount of water for its inhabitants. This poses a major problem. What is a planet of people to do? Well, here's our solution. Introducing the desalinating bacteria, or Desalbac for short. This tiny microorganism will help aid in the cause to provide fresh, clean water for everyone. With this innovation, we can change the way the world gets their water. This tiny organism's purpose in life is to eliminate salt from the water. By using its flagellum, or tails, to maneuver itself through the water, its receptors can locate and absorb sodium chloride, or salt particles, and a reaction will take place within the organism.
So if we take a closer look at the Desalbac, we'll notice that it's modeled after two different types of bacteria. The first is algae, and the second one is archaea. So the Desalbac has a lot of mechanisms of algae, in that the bacteria consumes the salt and lives in the water, while the characteristics it takes from the archaea is its look. So it's very similar to the look of the archaea, in that its body is spherical, and that it has flagellum, which are the little tails that help it move through the water, and also the membrae, which are the receptors on the outside that catch the salt. And once the salt has been absorbed into the Desalbac, chemistry takes the lead.
Okay, so the bacteria is equipped with something called selenium dioxide, which will react with the sodium chloride, or the salt, to produce chlorine gas and sodium selenite. The chlorine gas will rise out of the water, while the sodium selenite will stay in the water to be consumed.
So in order to prevent the Desalbac from desalinating the whole ocean if it were to get out somehow, each bacteria will only be equipped with enough selenium dioxide to run through about 4 cycles of consuming the salt.
Now, there are many benefits to sodium selenite. There is cancer-fighting potential in that it boosts antioxidant activity and improves the immune system. It reduces the risk of blood sugar imbalance and therefore gives a benefit for people that have diabetes. It also lowers HIV risk by protecting cells and slowing the progression of the disease. And sodium selenite also treats skin conditions such as blisters and other side effects of skin conditions of other diseases. And finally, it can help to combat thyroid disease by regulating thyroid hormones.
Too much sodium selenite can possibly lead to bad breath and a skin rash if there was sensitivity. However,
the plan is to use this product on both a consumer and industrial level. However, we want to start on the consumer level. We predict this product would be fairly expensive to produce at first, but we're optimistic after about 10 to 15 years of selling our product on a small scale, we'll be able to move to phase 2, which is desalinating industrially. We hope to be approached by governments who want to take part in our innovation and bring fresh water to the world. For now, though, here is our plan to use our Desalbac on a consumer level.
alright, so the life cycle for the personal kits are fairly simple. It will start out being engineered in a lab that will then be packaged and sent out to stores. Consumers will then pick up the packages or the kits, and then when they have water that they want to desalinate, they will drop it into the water, where the bacteria will then consume the salt and produce chlorine gas and sodium selenite. This will happen 4 times, so 4 life cycles, and after those 4 life cycles, both the dead bacteria and the sodium selenite will be consumed by the person who's drinking the water.
So this is the life cycle of stage 2 when we would mass produce it on an industrial scale. So it would be engineered in a lab and it would be like mass produced. And then it would be flown out and placed in a holding tank. And by computer, it would be distributed into a tank of salt water, and it would be like based on a ratio on how much salt there would be. So like there'd be like however much salt there would be, like the percentage of salt would be determined how much bacteria would be needed. So, and then it would consume the salt and produce Cl2 and NaSeO3, and it would run through 4 cycles. And then with the fan at the bottom of the tank, the sodium selenite and bacteria are mixed into the water so that none of it settles into the bottom. And also the Cl2 would rise up out of the water, but there would be a capture tank to ensure that there would not be mass amounts of Cl2 just rising into the atmosphere. And then all of the freshly clean water would be pushed through a tube and into another holding tank, and it would be exported to land to be distributed later on to the people so that they could have fresh water. Imagine this, a world where fresh drinkable water is available to absolutely everyone, no matter where they are. Our ultimate goal is to end world thirst. No one should be without the most essential resource to live. This tiny bacteria could be our solution to this global issue, the Desalbac.